Mr. Speaker, with respect to a point of personal privilege, I listened carefully to Delegate Cox a few moments ago, and he recited the same words that he's given in at least 6 or 7 previous speeches. And he told us about a clean budget and not holding the budget hostage. And he also said that we've heard several times, go back and listen to your constituents. Now, I promise you, I am not going to stand up here and say, I have gone back, I've listened to my constituents, and they said this. Because what I find amazing is that every member so far on both sides go back and listens to their constituents, and the people are either inextricably opposed to Medicaid expansion or wildly enthusiastic. And I find it somewhat ironic that Delegates McQuinn and McClellan and Morrissey from Henrico have listened to their constituents who say we're in favor of Medicaid expansion, but the same delegates from Henrico, Delegate O'Bannon and Delegate Massey, their constituents are opposed to it. So I won't go that route. But what I have been doing is listening and reading, and Mr. Speaker, you've gotten a lot of press. There's one local journalist who, from the Richmond area, who with equal enthusiasm pillories both Republicans and Democrats. He stated that Speaker Howell and Republican leader Tommy Norment, he said this in a recent op-ed piece, their recalcitrance over Medicaid expansion is consistent with, quote, dismissing public opinion, ignoring the broader good, even trampling on people's rights. The same journalist said that the Republicans' refusal to accept nearly $7 billion over the next 4 years from Obamacare subordinates the public office, their public office, to the self-interest of those in power. And then he also said, calling these people the new resistors, found it ironic that 2/3 of these people that are against Medicaid expansion avail themselves of the same health insurance policy that are paid for by taxpayers. He concluded by saying, it appears that the Republicans are saying, or the new resistors are saying, we got mine, you go get yours. But I've been also listening. The Senate Finance Committee had a 4-hour public meeting. Mr. Speaker, you called it, I want to make sure I quote you correctly, more a dog and pony show than a public hearing. Well, here are some of those dogs and ponies that testified. President Teresa Sullivan, president of the University of Virginia. She said the university's academic medical center would serve more poor and uninsured with expanded Medicaid. She went on to say we are a safety net hospital. Victor Ianello, a Roanoke businessman and the chairman of the Carilion Medical Center, said, quote, we are in a dangerous path that threatens the financial viability of hospitals in Virginia. Bill Downey, CEO of the Riverside Health in Newport News, said failure to expand Medicaid in some fashion would threaten the planned replacement of my new seatmate's hospital in Nassawadox, and I'm probably mispronouncing that. That's in Delegate Bloxham's district. The Senate Finance Committee heard from numerous hospital administrators all across the Commonwealth, from Southwest Virginia, from Hampton Roads to the Eastern Shore, from Danville to Martinsville. These hospital administrators said if we don't expand Medicaid, hospitals' financial viability is severely threatened. Shepard Miller III, a Virginia Beach businessman, was passionate about expanded Medicaid. But the person that I took the most heed from is Lori Piper. She's in Arlington County. She's a former executive who became homeless after losing her career to an autoimmune disease. She spoke and she talked about those have-nots that need Medicaid expansion. But I didn't stop there, Mr. Speaker. I read the GOP pronouncements, the epistles that have been sent out by my friends on the other side. In one, the Republican said, Governor Terry McAuliffe is planning to help fund Medicaid expansion by taking money from education and other services. The GOP epistle that went out called it a raid. I said to myself, that couldn't be good. That's bad. except for 1 week later, PolitiFact came in of Virginia and said, after a thorough analysis, they rated that as mostly false. But that's a follow-up to my colleague in Henrico County, who said that there's 30% fraud in Medicaid in Virginia. That couldn't be a good thing, I said, until PolitiFact came back and said that Delegate Morrissey's pronouncement about 30% waste was also mostly false. And Mr. Speaker, I read this in this morning's paper, your spokesman, that called Governor McAuliffe irresponsible to hold the budget hostage. But you know, Mr. Speaker, the governor at least gave us a plan. He gave us a plan. I also read about three Republican senators, Senators Hanger, Watkins, and Stosh, who together have about 80 or 90 years of experience. They gave us a plan. It's called Marketplace Virginia, and everybody on this side is in agreement with it. But the House Republicans gave us no. That's not my words. That's Senator Stosh on your side. Here's what Senator Stosh said. Quote, "The House has not proposed any alternative solutions or any means of returning our tax dollars within the biennium." That's not us, Mr. Speaker. That's Senator Stosh. But at the end of the day, we're told by the majority leader, just be calm. Sign the budget, and we'll all come back. And we'll have a debate. And we'll have the Merck Commission's resolutions. And I'm thinking to myself, how, Mr. Speaker, can Merck do its job when they haven't even met since December until yesterday? How can we accept the majority leader's pronouncement that let Merck do its job when they haven't even met in 3 months? And then, Mr. Speaker, you said, well, in response to Delegate Cox, we'll come back and we'll be open-minded about it. Mr. Speaker, you boasted a year ago that the 5 delegates appointed to the panel, the Merck Commission, formed a firewall against Medicaid expansion. So how can the people on this side of the aisle believe you will really be open-minded? We should really just sign a budget and come back and have that debate when you have said there's a firewall there. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, my great-great-grandparents raised potatoes and turnips in Ireland, but their great-great-grandson didn't fall off that wagon yesterday. We don't have the belief and the faith that if we sign that budget, you will come back and have the open debate that you promise you'll have. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.